What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I'm going to answer the question, is the R56 Mini Cooper S a good daily driver? And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and stick around. You're going to want to watch this whole video. No matter which Mini Cooper you drive, check out my Facebook group. It's called Mini Cooper DIY. I'll leave a link to it in the description, or you can just go to Facebook and type Mini Cooper DIY in the search bar, and you'll find it that way. But let's get to the video. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, SULKNATIONtv, and he was doing an episode on his channel about whether or not the R53 was a good daily driver. And I'll link to that video in the description of this so you can watch it. It's a good video. I suggest watching his channel. I've talked about him before. But after watching that video, I was just like, man, I should do a video on whether or not the R56 is a good daily driver. So I didn't just steal his idea. I messaged him on Instagram and asked him, told him, hey, if I give you a shout out. He's like, yeah, I don't know why you asked, but thanks for asking. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing the video. I got the idea from SULKNATIONtv on YouTube. But the first thing that I want to talk about for a daily driver, I'm actually going to go through the same list as him. That's why I mentioned him first. If you watch his video, we're doing the same list, but his is for an R53 and mine's for an R56. So obviously the stuff's going to be different. But the first thing is miles per gallon. My average miles per gallon is in mine's stage 3. Remember that I'm stage 3 with a JCW turbo. When it was stock, my average miles per gallon was around 32 to 33 miles per gallon. Now it's about 28.5 miles per gallon, and most of my driving is Spirit, almost all of it. I drive Spirit. That's just how I drive. I live in the mountains and I drive through mountain roads to and from work. It's a 112-mile commute, and I don't want to turn an hour drive into a 2-hour drive driving the recommended speed. It'd be a lot faster. Well, it'd probably be a lot. Yeah, it'd be a lot longer than what I make it. But yeah, windy roads and long drive, and driving spiritedly, I average about 28.5 miles to the gallon. If stop and go, it's probably a little bit lower, but on the highway, just cruising, I mean, you can look at when it's telling you, on a Mini, you can look on your gauge and it'll tell you what you're getting at the time. I've seen it as high as high 40s, just cruising behind somebody on the freeway. But yeah, but average it's 28.5. The second thing is going to be the size. Heated size and comfort is one thing. I'm doing size and comfort as two. But the size of the car on the inside, I drive by myself to and from work. I use it as a commuter, so it's plenty of room for one person. I would say it's plenty of room for two people. I have my back seats out of the car. I took the back seats out almost immediately when I got the car. But when I still had them in, if you fold them down, it's almost like a small SUV. But if you're gonna have people in your back seat, like if you have kids, like you're gonna use a car seat or something, you're gonna put in the back seat. You don't have a lot of trunk space. But so for a daily, if you're gonna need a lot of trunk space, and you're also gonna have a kid in the back, it might not be good for that. But I don't have kids, and I don't have back seats, so I have plenty of room. In fact, a couple weeks ago, I was leaving work, and one of my coworkers has an SS Camaro, and he had tires delivered to work, and he needed to get them to the tire shop to have them installed on his car. He couldn't put them in his car. His car didn't have enough room. Full-size car. And I was pulling up, I was like, hey, what kind of tires did you get? And he's like, hey, can you do me a favor? And so I put 2 of his tires in the back of my car, and he took the other 2. And I could have probably put all 4, but he was going to meet me up there anyway, so it was no big deal. And but I have more room in my car than he did. There was no way he was putting all 4 tires in his car. so for that, it's pretty good. So I would say it's pretty good for space. And like I said, I wouldn't recommend having more than one passenger unless it's going to be a kid in the back seat. I've sat in the back seats when I had them because I saw the YouTubers saying about, oh, look, you have all kinds of room, and I think they're lying pretty much, or maybe they just have the seat too far forward. I drive with my seat pretty, not real far forward, but I want my feet to be on where the, you know, I can barely, not barely, but when I touch the brakes, I want the brakes to be in the gas. I want them to be in the right spot where I'm sitting comfortably. I don't put my seat in the, any other reason than for performance. So I put it like that, and then I set it up so I'm sitting straight. I'll do a video on that actually, on how to set your seat up for performance. But because in these cars it's really easy. It has everything you need, but that's a different video. But yeah, another thing though about it being in a small car is when you're, you know, in a tight parking lot or something, it makes parking extremely easy. I had to scoot my seat forward real quick because the sun's starting to hit my head. But yeah, it makes it real easy to park. My other car is a Subaru Forester. It's a 2010 XT. That's my old daily driver before I got to this one. But that's the easy car to park. But this just, it's night and day. It's way, way easier. People could be hogging the spaces and you can still, like, as long as they're in their own lane. I'm not going to park next to somebody that's parked in my lane. But it's just really easy. You can back in. A lot of people in these cars like to back in. I don't truly understand why everybody wants to back into their parking space, but I'll back out. So I think that's easier. But it's easy to back in or pull or parallel park it or however you're going to park it. Super easy in these cars. Not only because they're small, but because of where the tires are or where the wheels are on the car. Alright, and the next thing was how comfortable the car is. Like I said earlier, I have a 112 mile round trip commute to and from work, and I'm perfectly comfortable. I'm at work, I stand up 10 hours a day too, so I drive 56 miles, stand up for 10 hours, drive 56 miles home. It's no problem for me. I'm comfortable. These seats are really comfortable. The suspension is, I have a 27 millimeter solid front sway bar and a 25.5 millimeter hollow rear sway bar that's set on the stiffest setting. It's adjustable, and I have Ireland Engineering camber plate, fixed camber plates in the front. So that's all I have for my suspension. So it's not too harsh or anything. You don't notice sway bars driving on the road unless you're in a corner. They don't make your suspension any more harsh or anything like that. But some of the roads I drive down are really bumpy, and a lot of them are smooth. You know, so I hit every terrain. My road that I drive on is dirt to get, you know, out to the road. It's probably a quarter mile. Well, it's dirt and rock. This car is just as comfortable as my Forester on the dirt roads, and it's a lot more comfortable, you know, on the smooth roads, and it handles even pretty decent on the bumpy roads. So I'm really happy with how comfortable it is. And along with, you know, with being comfortable is the next thing that we'll talk about is how loud it is, the noise, how loud it is inside the car. With my back seats, when they were still in it, it was obviously quieter because the back seats take away the sound from your exhaust. Well, I removed my back seats, and now I have catless exhaust with, I do have a resonator, but I have it's 2.3 inch diameter exhaust, and it's catless, like I said, and I'm stage 3. It's not that loud inside the car. Outside the car, it's not that loud. I've had people even tell me, they're like, wow, your car is pretty quiet for how much you have done to it. But you know, inside the car, I can listen to the stereo. I don't have to have it blaring. I normally don't listen to the stereo. I just listen to my car. I like the way it sounds. But I'm out wide open throttle, obviously, it's loud inside the car. That's how it's going to be when you have open exhaust. Like, well, not open, but I have a resonator, but catless exhaust on a souped up Mini Cooper, it's going to be loud. Even a stock one, it's going to be loud when you get on it. But it's not unbearable. It sounds good. Even when they're stock, they sound good. So as far as noise, I would say that noise doesn't affect it as a daily driver in any way, shape, or form. Okay, the next thing for a daily driver, is a good idea to have a car where the maintenance isn't going to be too bad. For me, I work on my own car, as you see if you watch my videos. In the description, I have a list of all the maintenance that you need to do for these cars, and I'm also going to put it on the screen right now. I'll wait a second so you can read it, or you just pause it. but it's in the description. You can copy it, paste it. In fact, I also have another video I'm going to link in the description that's called 11 Ways to Make Your Mini Cooper More Reliable. I would definitely suggest watching that video if you own a R56 Mini Cooper S, or if you plan on buying one, because they're really, I would consider it a reliable car. Everyone says, oh, not the N14s are the worst Mini Cooper motors. They're the worst Mini Cooper motor that won the International Engine of the Year award 8 years in a row. I believe it was in, how many years was it in production? Was it 8 years? It wasn't much longer than that, if it, you know, so I don't know how it's such a terrible engine when it's International Engine of the Year every year. But so as long as you take care of it, you do the oil changes, don't go off of what Mini says, go off what I have in the description. It's 4,000 to 5,000 miles. I don't actually go 4,000. It's 2 to 3 for me now. I was doing it every 1,000 for a while because I was paranoid. But now I got my catch cans and I don't have any oil leaks anymore, so I don't lose oil like I was before. You know, every 3 is probably fine. Every 4 to 5 is actually fine. I change it because I don't want to add oil. I would rather just change the oil. But also, you know, don't just do the oil. Do all the maintenance items that I just put up in that, you know, screenshot or that are in the description. It's all important. It's all just as important. One isn't more important than the other. You got to do it all, and your car is going to be great. It's going to be a great daily driver. And then the next thing is going to be drivability. This is a good drive. The drivability of these cars is really good. When they're stock, the S turbo, or yeah, the Mini Cooper S turbo, there's no lag. I didn't notice any turbo lag. And now I have a JCW turbo, but I'm tuned with it. Even when I ran the JCW turbo, when I first put it on without a tune, it was basically the same as the S turbo, but with a little bit more horsepower. But now that I'm tuned, not only does it spool faster than the S did, but it doesn't run out of power through the whole RPM range. So drivability is actually better now that I'm stage 3 than it was when I was OEM, when I was totally stock. So for drivability, it's this also, I have an automatic, and in the automatics, you know, you can just put it in automatic mode. When you hit stop and go traffic, if you're in sport mode and you have it, they'll get the shifter lever over into manual shift, but you're still using it as an automatic and you're not shifting it manually, when you come to a stop, it'll actually put you in first gear. And in stop and go traffic in these automatics, first gear is just too low. You want to use second and third. So what I do is I just put it in manual. I always drive it manual in mode anyway, and I use the paddles, but I use second and third in stop and go traffic, and it's not all jerky. So it's really, I would say that it makes it even more drivable than, well, no, I would say it is. It's definitely more drivable than any other automatic that I've ever had for a daily driver. Because of that, you can, you know, most automatics, you go to put it in second, it's still going to start you in first. This will start you in second, and you can't really, I mean, there's other automatics obviously that'll do that, but this is the one I have. So, and I haven't owned one that hasn't. So as far as drivability, I would say it's an amazing car for drivability as a daily driver. All right, I have to scoot forward again because that sun's come over that hill. But yeah, so as far as the drivability is, definitely a good daily driver. I would say all around the R56 Mini Cooper S, if it's for one person or two people, if you're using it as a commuter or, you know, just a daily driver for yourself, it's an excellent car. If you're gonna have it as a family car and it's gonna be a daily driver, probably not so much. I would recommend getting a Countryman. That's what I would do if I had 3 or more people I was gonna be putting in the car, or, you know, a family in general for a daily driver. But for me, R56 Mini Cooper S is plenty, and it's perfect. I wouldn't want any other car. I'm actually gonna buy an R53, but this is still gonna be my daily driver. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down, and I'll catch you in the next video.